Hi, my name is Sarah Jones. I graduated from St. Louis University School of Law in 2019, and I'm currently an Assistant Attorney General for Special Litigation at the Attorney General's office in the state of Missouri for Attorney General Schmidt, who is also a SLU Law graduate. So it's fun to work with a couple SLU Law graduates and some former students. SLU is very, very special to me. I'll start off with telling why I chose to go to SLU. At the time that I was looking at law schools, I lived in Brooklyn, New York, and lived in Williamsburg and was working for a policy group up there, and had taken the LSAT and had thought about law school, but wasn't really sure if I was ready to leave the city or what I was ready to do. And I started looking at law schools out east. I looked in DC, I looked in the city in New York, I looked kind of all around out there, and something in my heart told me that I needed to come back to Missouri. And nothing against any other school in Missouri. I didn't have any interest in looking at any other school other than SLU. I went to a Jesuit university for college, and I loved the Jesuit mission, and I thought it would be really neat and really cool to continue my education in a Jesuit school. And so I looked at SLU, and the minute I walked into Scott Hall, I knew I was home. I knew I could see myself there for 3 years. I knew that it was going to be the place that I said I graduated from. My moot court professor, Professor Canfield, she is an incredible appellate advocate, and I use that knowledge that she gave me in moot court 1 and moot court 2 for appellate advocacy. I use that every single day, and I feel comfortable in why I structure my arguments certain ways, and I feel proud of that, and so honored to have learned under her. I mean, Professor Stewart was the reason why I loved and still love trial work. When I tried a case in December, all I could think about was Professor Stewart's hierarchies and the things that he actually taught us in class about the rules of evidence that I was putting in practice a few months out of law school. That's why I chose SLU Law. I wanted to be in Missouri, but I also wanted to be in a school that was going to teach me how to practice law and was going to teach me how to kinesthetically, how to actually know at least somewhat what I was doing when I got out 3 years later. So SLU is so special to me because it was a place that I was able to gain a network, not just of students, but a network of lawyers. I think something that makes SLU stand out above any other school that I visited, or even any other school that my coworkers and my friends have attended, is the investment in SLU. And the legal community is so invested in the SLU law community that I was a conversation away from anyone who I needed to get a hold of. I was honored to be the co-president of the Women's Law Students Association and the president of the Federalist Society during my 3rd year. And one of the things that we do at SLU, that a lot of law schools do, but SLU does it really, really well, is we have noon hour lunch hours where you get free lunch, but you also get to hear a speaker. And you can go weeks with getting a free lunch every single day and hearing a different speaker and a different perspective. And as president of those 2 organizations, there were many a time that I needed to find people in the community in order to speak on that topic, or in order to give us a good insight on a topic, and I never struggled finding anyone. And most of the time they were SLU Law grads as well, which was really cool. And I can't tell you a time that I didn't feel supported by the legal community at large as a law student. The opportunities that came from that, the job that I have now, came from a SLU Law alum wanting SLU Law alums to be a part of his organization. I think the investment there and the pride that SLU graduates feel when they leave that building, it is just immense. And I was honored to be supported as I was, and I was honored that the SLU legal community, or the St. Louis, legal community. Sorry. I was honored that the St. Louis legal community was so invested in us as students and was so invested in the law school that they gave us so many opportunities. And that kind of feeds into my experience at SLU was, and I mentioned this, but my experience at SLU was so kinesthetic and so hands-on. My moot court and my trial team and my clinic, especially my clinic, but really my moot court and my trial team, they were focused on teaching me how to try a case, teaching me how to argue in front of a panel of judges, teaching me how to structure a brief. These are things that I use every single day, and things that I would not have learned the same way if someone was telling me the theory of a brief or the theory of an argument or the theory of anything. I was given tangible skills through Professor Stewart, through Professor Canfield, through Professor Sanner, through, oh my gosh, I could name him up, Professor Scarlett. All of these people gave me tangible, real pieces that I use in my practice because I was able to practice law in law school. And I think that was the most beneficial and the most beautiful part of my legal education, was that kinesthetic, that hands-on learning. I don't think I could have gotten that anywhere else. What would I tell a prospective student? If you're looking at SLU and you're considering SLU, I would tell you to go. That place became like a home to me. I remember my final days of law school, my final days of classes, sitting in the courtroom on the 12th floor and realizing how many moments I had had in that courtroom, from orientation to trial team to arguing in the final four for our moot court, our internal competition, in front of tons of prospective students. And even little things, conversations with professors that I had. I sat there and I just realized that place gave me so much, and that room even gave me so much, that I was so honored. And part of that comes from the community that it is. SLU Law is a community, and the professors at SLU are going to invest in you, and they're going to invest in your legal education, and they're going to invest in you as a lawyer down the line. I'm still in contact with those professors. I still adore them. I try and help them out as much as I can because I know that they spent the time to really invest in me, to really have conversations with me, to spend time in office hours with me. None of it was, I never felt intimidated by a professor. I never felt as if any question was a silly question. I always felt supported. I always felt, I felt as if every opportunity was a learning opportunity, and in the most beautiful way. And I could not imagine being anywhere else and with any other professors. They are, they truly make the community what it is. And that goes down into the students, and then the students are so willing to help each other. You will find that your friends in law school are your friends, and you can call them at midnight, as I have, and ask them questions because you didn't take a class in law school, or you're learning something for the first time and you know that they've done it. And I feel supported now too. And when you're in a profession, like a legal profession, it is an ensemble cast. You have to have professors that support you. You have to have students that support you, friends that support you, parents and family and siblings, people. Everyone has to support this type of education. And you have that at SLU. That's built in to SLU's model, into SLU's professor relationships with students relationships with each other. It's built in to the student leadership organizations. You can get involved in anything you want, as much or as little as you want. It's a great environment, and you want that type of environment when you're looking and pursuing a legal education. I loved SLU. I loved every minute that I went there. I'm honored to be a Billiken, and I'm so proud, even from the other side of the state.